Good morning, dear listener. Well, you might be listening to this in the morning. It's the morning for me. We are at the start of day 3 of KeyForge Celebration. I'm so excited. We're walking to the hotel, so if noises change... Oh, there's a loud bus over there. So, walking with a group over. I just finished a warm-up match with my practice buddy, Hyper, also known in real life and by his mother as Asher.
Only my mother.
Only by his mother. Everybody else calls him Hyper, even his dad. So we just did a warm-up match. It's a very good, just a good practice before competition, so I can make all mistakes in my match with him. So let's see what kind of Winds of Exchange Alliance sealed deck were you playing in that practice match, Asher?
I was doing a Saurians, Unfathomable, and Mars with a Bellator Warrior, which is the token creature 5/2.
It's huge.
Beefy creature. Not a lot of Ember control. It's mainly Mars needs Ember with like 3 damage pips. So
yes, the key to my deck facing a big board deck was to have courage and say, well, that board is scary, but not scary enough for me to choose to not just rush. My deck usually is the beatdown, as they say. It's the deck that needs to ignore the opponent's tricks to a certain extent and just rush. So I had to take out some things as we went, but ended up taking it. But yeah, those Bellator Warriors are scary, man, especially with Fathom Reaver.
Yeah, with Fathom Reaver, which is the if you have a token creature, you feel 1 less.
Yeah, your opponent for sure. So the practice match was good. I feel warmed up. We're going to be playing in probably just a few minutes here. Oh, man, we've got a big group of walkers. We got Dylan, who you talked to yesterday. You've got 1-star peeps. I hope you all have been watching his stream. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Zach. How's it going?
Going well. Do you know which tournament you're streaming this morning?
Archon something.
Archon something. I love playing Archon something. Yeah.
Justin came over and told me yesterday what I was doing because he worked it out and sounded good to me, but I was too focused on food. I was like, yeah, whatever you say, I'll do that.
Yeah, hunger has been a driving force for some of my decisions made this weekend, I think. Now, have you gotten to play in any events, Andrew?
No, I just did my ABR sealed event, though, while I was here.
Excellent.
So that was fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you. I mean, on behalf of the listeners and myself, thank you so much for doing so much streaming for this alongside the TTR guys. That's pretty huge, I think, for people to be able to see that.
Somehow you're making more content than me and playing more games than me. So you know what? Thank you.
I think all I would need to do is look at your stream uptime from this weekend, and you've probably outpaced me on sheer length of content. So I wouldn't worry about that.
Well, all right. Let's say quality over quantity then.
Yeah, well, that's subjective. So that's what I get a pass on. So, man, this is a pretty stacked group. I got my folks. We have Nova. We've got the TTR guys. And noted science fantasy author Simon Finchley. By the way, that's a pen name. He lied to me. He's a deceiver. How you doing this morning, Nathan?
I'm doing pretty good. I got a coffee, so that's like the minimum requirement for a good morning for me. So
yeah, for sure. I am coffeeed up, but only after 2 large glasses of water in case I forget to drink water later.
Yeah, I did pregame with some water. Too. That was, I think, an important decision. Yesterday, I did the same thing. Where it was like, I had breakfast, tall glass of water, and then some coffee right next to it. So,
very good. And did you? Let's see. I think Justin made top cut
yes,
for
Alliance Sealed. Yeah, Justin made top cut in Alliance Sealed.
Or Alliance Standard.
Sorry, Alliance Standard.
Alliance
Standard.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
right. So I got to watch a bunch of Alliance yesterday, and you will definitely have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, for sure.
The Alliance is more or less what people thought it was going to be. Right. If that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah.
So, nothing like too surprising, but I would. I've got some opinions on what should probably be on the restricted list next.
Yeah, for sure.
To clean up the format.
I think a lot of people are going to share some of those opinions.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Including Ghost Galaxy.
Right. So, but yeah, well, it'll be we'll have to see how the top 8 plays out. But yeah, looking forward to that today. So.
And on a scale from NARP to Transcendence, how much fun were you having playing Unchained Duels yesterday?
Oh, it was absolutely insane. Like the The Unchained was so fast. Like the games were so fast, and the format basically encourages you to lose.
Right.
And so you show up and you just like, all right, well, let's play. You know,
Yeah.
I was telling Justin that I managed to play. I played Binate Rupture regardless of amber totals every time it showed up. Like just, you know.
The words of a true champion, ladies and gentlemen, Arkansas. The words of a true champion.
All right, well, we're here in the center now, so I'm gonna go.
That's right. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, listener. That is it for now. Going to get checked in. I will talk to you soon. Listeners, I'm finally making good. It's day 3. Who are you, ma'am? Who are you?
I may, in fact, be Sydnie Steele.
Woohoo! It always makes me think of S.E. Johnson, a family company, when I see S.E. Steele. S.E. Steele, a KeyForge player. When I see you online. Sydnie. So you all know Sydnie, of course, from Help from Future Self. If you're nerdy enough to listen to Call of Discovery, that means you've already been listening to Help from Future Self, which is great. So Sydnie, what has been? What do you have? What is on your agenda today? What does your itinerary look like?
Well, if I'm right, I have to play in the Archon Sealed Top 8 this morning. So I just got my deck checked, and we are ready to go.
Awesome. Archon Sealed being where you open a sealed Winds of Exchange deck, no modifications. You just play it as is. So what's your favorite thing about that deck that you've made it to top 8 with?
To be completely honest, my favorite thing is that it was my least favorite token going into knowing how to play these cards. And
Oh my gosh.
the fact that I was able to get it to work with this deck and that it works so well makes me so happy that whether I win or lose, it's just an exceptionally fun experience.
What a KeyForge moment. And what is that token?
It is a warrior. It's 4 power, and it cannot reap if it can fight, or something along those lines. It cannot reap if there are any enemy creatures in play. So that way I have to board clear to even use them to reap.
Yeah, that is a very interesting one, especially because we've got Grunt that's totally blank at 3 and a big ol' restriction on Warrior at 4. But so how much fun have you been having playing Brobnar?
It's actually amazing. I honestly think it is the best house in this set. The fact that it can deal with the board so well, but also it has most of my Amber control in it. I hope you don't post this before I play my game in 5 minutes.
This will post later for sure. That's awesome. Yeah, I've gotten to watch a couple games. I played one game against Brobnar, so we'll see how much I see in Sealed Alliance top 8. But I've seen some great Amber control. I've finally seen the right amount of large creatures without drawbacks, and then also, does your deck incentivize fighting? Do you get to make Amber while fighting at all?
My opponent is lucky if they have a board at any point in time. Like, I reap with my warriors, if that tells you anything about how it plays.
Sydnie speaks in a very kind manner, but that was the most intimidating thing I've heard all weekend.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be able to show what Brobnar can do now that it's back.
Yes, that's awesome. And so outside of all this competition, which you're already doing well at, right? We both made top 8. That's fantastic. Outside of the competition, this is an unfair question. I've asked it to somebody else already. What's your favorite part of the weekend so far?
Playing you, obviously.
Oh, yes, we had our Unchained match. Well, I'm not going to ask you for a different answer. I think we just have to go with that one. Sydnie, before we leave, do you have a Help from Future Self?
Trust your gut. When you're playing a set for the first time and you can't analyze everything. Like, I thought this was the worst token. I honestly was unhappy to see it when I opened my deck. And then I got this far.
Excellent. Well, listener, that's your HFFS for the day, your Help from Future Sydnie. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. It reminds me of the advice in the Scythe rulebook, a Sigmire Games game. It says for your first game, push buttons and see what happens. So if you're playing a new set, follow Sydnie's advice. Push buttons and see what happens. And those buttons might be for Power Warriors. All right. We'll report in as we get going. I'll report in after my games. I'll try to catch some other people as we go. If I have amenable opponents and I'm not super upset at how I lost, I might even interview them. All right. Back at you soon. Hello again, listeners. Round 1 of the top cut of Alliance Sealed is over. And your boy finally found a bad matchup. With double elimination, I only played 5 games, won all of them, so I was mercifully not subject to so many other games as people who lost a game and came up through the loser's bracket. So I'll tell you more about that in a minute, because I am sitting across from somebody who has also just played in round 1. What is your name and how far did you travel today?
My name is Annie. I traveled from St. Louis, so it's about an 8-hour drive.
Okay. Yeah, that's not too bad. I think I traveled for about 8 hours total, but via plane. So you made the top cut, which is awesome for Alliance Sealed. That's just a big W right there, right? And so how did you feel about the pod selection process, and what did you end up going with?
My main feeling was I wanted to try it because I was an Alliance skeptic. I really enjoyed it for Sealed. I ended up not switching a deck. I just used a deck that I got as is. But I did learn a valuable lesson because my other deck I stuck in the box, didn't look at it for 2 days, and when we went to deck check, it turned out it was defective. And because I had not checked it, I was stuck, which was just a mental thing. But because I was going to play the deck I had anyway. But it was a good tournament lesson to check even the deck you're not using or the pods you're not using so that you know that everything's A-okay.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, you picked one unmodified deck, and then the other one was defective. And there is for listener, if you're unfamiliar, you have the option in between rounds of Sealed Alliance to swap out deck pods. I swapped out my token after round 2. So you thought you might have options that you might not take, but then they said, by the way, you have no options.
Correct. So, which was just a mental trip because I wasn't planning on making changes. But sometimes you like to feel like you have the option.
Yes, of course. That can certainly mess with one's head. So how does it feel to... So if you put it together, you may have recognized Annie from various Facebook groups, Twitter, that sort of thing. She has been a KeyForge aficionado at least as long as I have. So how does it feel, Annie, to have been able to come out here to KeyForge Celebration, first KeyForge official event in 3 years, and see everybody have a good time? Has that been a good experience for you?
It was very good. So I have played, Jean-Claude is one of my local players, and we've been playing, he's basically one of the only people I've played for the last 3 years over and over. So it was really fun to play other people. I feel like I learned so much from him, and he coached me and was cheering me on from home. But it was fun to test the things that I've learned in the last few years against other people and just play real KeyForge again and, see different things. Think about things that you hadn't thought about in years because you get stuck in the way you think, the way you play, the way your friends play. But yeah, that was really fun. And my big goal was to make top 50. So to make top 8 feels like a huge victory. So I'm pretty thrilled. Even going out in the first round of single elimination, I'm pretty thrilled.
Yeah, that's my exact situation as well. I'm still going to play my best. I'm just going to fight hard, but I'm happy just to make that top cut. Well, congratulations on top cut as well. I know there's a couple side events. Do you have any specific plans for the rest of the day?
I purposely don't have plans. I think I'm going to play some Unchained. I'd like to lose a few more games and get some more Unchained decks. I may play some Keyraken, but really I just want to play some people I haven't gotten to play against yet, so if they're still around, that's my goal.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Annie. And dear listener, we'll be back with more soon. Hey there. I'm so glad I got to have that chat with Annie of KeyForge about her experience in Alliance Sealed here at the event and the fight for top 8. She and I both got knocked out, of course. Now I want to recap for you what my game was like. So the short of it is, of course, I got knocked out of the top 8. I faced a deck with 5 power tokens. It's the special Brobnar token, Berserker. It enters play ready and enraged. It has after fight, destroy Berserker. And so that is the Brobnar's special token. Every house in Winds of Exchange, of course, has a rare that automatically takes over the token for the deck. It says, okay, if I'm in this deck, the deck's token is this exactly. So he had Revna Starsong in the deck, so Berserker was the token. And here's the thing. When I built my Alliance deck, when I picked the pods, I built that deck well for 80% of the field, who all had small tokens. I had plenty of Rush in the Amber Pips, which was great. And I had lots of cards that would just blow up at low cost to me, blow up lots of small power creatures like Pale into Insignificance, Crushing Charge, stuff like that, along with some Splash Attack and big dinos in my Saurian house. Now, that being said, once I 5-0'd, I was reflecting on it, and I said I had all good matchups. There was no matchup where my deck, I had to play in a different way to get the win. I was able to play pretty straightforward, still had to make smart calls, but I was able to play it pretty straightforward the whole time. And because it's double elimination, I made top cut after just 5 wins. I had many fewer matches than some people playing up through the losers bracket who are playing 7, 8 matches to try to get to top cut. So if I had done that, I would have a much higher chance of finding a bad matchup earlier. And of course, this first match in the top 8 was against a 5-power token deck. He had lots of ways to make the 5-power Brobnar token entering play ready and enraged, and it just negated at least 7 cards in my deck, most of my board control except for Contrino Warp, because I could only blow up either lowest power creatures with Pale or creatures 4 and lower with Crushing Charge, which sometimes hits my own. So, and then Triple Cowp, because his Berserkers come into play ready and enraged, and he had ways to make them, he was controlling the board, always had stuff ready to fight, and could make more quite easily, and tokens don't count as playing a creature. They're entering play, so they skip Cowp's restriction of one of each type of card. So I fought hard. I was out in 2 games, and I'm wondering if you know a meta going into an Alliance sealed match, if you do what I did for the elimination rounds, but you do something different than I did for the top rounds. Now, of course, this would be a bit risky. What I'm talking about is I was calibrated great for the initial rounds, but I was not well calibrated in my deck for the top round, facing against a lot of artifacts and a giant token creature. So I'm wondering if there is a strategy where I could have recalibrated my deck, having heard about what is being played out there, what's making top cut, mostly big tokens, and recalibrated my deck to maybe have some artifact control or skip out on board completely and just go maximum rush and steal. Don't even worry about board control if it can't fire. Now, that's risky because the scarcest resource in any sealed format is deck knowledge. The scarcest resource in any sealed format is deck knowledge. So I would be giving up the knowledge of playing 5 games with this deck, but if I'm thinking about the meta, if I'm making good plays, if I'm familiar with the set, probably later, there's a little bit less risk in tuning for the final cut. I do like that dynamic, that option is there. I don't know that tuning for the top cut is always going to be necessary. I do think once we've got tournaments with Alliance Sealed, that is going to be the winning play. I think more often than not, there's going to be a person who calibrates well for top cut differently than for the elimination rounds, and they take it with a different style than they entered. And I really like that idea. I really like that idea, dear listener. So that's my summary of the top 8 game. I'm going to try to find a couple more interviews. As you can tell, my voice is beginning to go because, well, if you've met me, if you've heard this podcast, you know I'm a bit of a talker. So, but we'll see how many words we can get in before I totally squeak out. If that happens, I'll just go find Mortivis and have him interview people for me. All right, we'll be back soon. We're back once more, dear listener. Yes, I know you probably, if you didn't stop listening after the Sydnie Steele interview because that's all you were here for, thank you. I appreciate that. So one of the main features of KeyForge Celebration is the fact that you can do Unchained duels. You're likely familiar, but Unchained decks are decks not going to be standard tournament legal that are made of cards from all of KeyForge's previous sets, including Winds of Exchange, all mashed together. Rarity numbers are basically turned off. I think linked things are still linked, and Maverick rate is turned way, way up. So you get some really wacky decks. And so a feature of the weekend is everybody started with one Unchained deck, and if you're not playing in something else, you can challenge somebody to an Unchained duel. And then if you lose 2 games with a single deck, you can go buy another Unchained deck. And so I'm sitting here with Alex, my buddy Alex Carroll. You probably know him as Lord of Winter. Alex, you are one of my oldest KeyForge pals. We first met at Vault Tour Atlanta, right? And you remember the first time? We didn't even really talk. Yeah. Do you remember the first time we actually met?
Oh yeah, it was. I don't think we knew each other at all. I had no idea that you had such a large Twitter presence at the time, and you were already such a huge fan of KeyForge, and I was kind of this new player, just entering the game, going to my first big event, and I made these pins. These Atlanta KeyForge pins to hand out at the event, and it was kind of my way of introducing myself to people and meeting everybody, and it was such a good time. Everybody was so friendly, and that still holds true to this day. The KeyForge community is great, and I will go on record saying that it's the best community I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, I concur. So we played an Unchained match maybe 45 minutes ago. At this point, we got some other things to do as well. So what? I've been having fun with it. How much have you been enjoying Unchained matches?
Unchained has been a blast. It's definitely been one of the highlights of the weekend for me, and I think for a lot of the other people here, a lot of the other players agree. Just based on what I've been talking to them, just when we're playing the games, everybody seems to be having a good time. The event in its entirety has been great, but the Unchained has definitely been a standout for me personally.
And how would you say an Unchained duel, for those at home waiting on theirs from the GameFound campaign, how does an Unchained versus Unchained duel feel different than a regular KeyForge match?
It's the Wild West. Anything can happen. Like you were saying, the rarities are turned off. The anomaly rate is up. There are new anomalies that we've never seen before, along with the winds of exchange, and the no longer restricting houses can really lead to some wild interactions.
Yeah, I pulled a CR Officer Hawkins, which says play, gain 1 amber for each of CR Hawkins' neighbors, and you can deploy it anywhere. And I have no start lines in the deck. It's a logo CR Officer Hawkins. And did you pulled an anomaly, didn't you?
Yeah, I ended up getting the name escapes me. Actually, it's
Near Future Lens, right?
I believe it's something like that. It's Near Future Lens, or it's something Lens. I could look it up if you want to cut it, but yeah, it's a artifact. I put it in Star Alliance. Basically, you play it, and for the rest of the game, you play with the top card of your deck face up. However, it has an Omni ability where once each turn, you can play the top card of your deck as if it were of the active house. So you get some real speed and efficiency, but your opponent knows exactly what you're playing.
Yeah, a really interesting way it changes the game. And how many Unchained matches do you think you've played at this point over the weekend?
Oh, I think I'm somewhere north of 10, definitely, maybe about 20, 18 to 20. And it's been, every single one of them has been quite enjoyable. I was a little worried that we were going to see some Unchained decks that didn't function. When they turn off the algorithm, and I think that's what a lot of people were worried about, is that you turn off the algorithm and just the cohesiveness of the deck isn't going to be there. And I haven't really seen any decks that are like that. None of mine personally so far have seemed to be like that, and I haven't seen anybody else who's been experiencing that either. Everybody seems to be pulling some wild, wacky, fun things.
Yeah, I don't think I've encountered anybody with an unfunctional deck, or a deck that doesn't at least have some insane trick that has us laughing all the way home.
Yeah, I know Wade, another local from Atlanta, actually pulled a Ember Imp Ghost Form deck in Dis. So,
oh no! What?
Yeah, and I've heard stories about also a Restrigantus Ghost Form and some other crazy things that just that were not possible before, that lead to board states that you've never experienced, and you have to think about KeyForge and your plays in different ways when these cards that have never been able to appear together before can now suddenly come together. And if you're playing sealed, you have no idea what to expect because it's every set and there are no restrictions. If you're not able to look at their deck list beforehand, then quite literally, anything could happen.
That has been my favorite way to play. I don't even think anybody, my opponents and I, have even offered to look at deck lists because I don't think we wanted to. I think we wanted to just go in blind and see what the heck happens.
Yeah. It's certainly the best way to play KeyForge in general. I love playing blind sealed, just cracking open a deck and sitting across from somebody, not even looking at what you've got, and just shuffling up and going. And yeah, Unchained has been quite the same feeling, just like taken to another level, to the extreme. And it's been a blast.
For sure. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of side events or just kind of special one-off or once-a-year events they announce for this. I think it would be a ton of fun. I like the social aspect of roaming around, challenging people. A tournament, we might see all those ghost forms and Ember Imps show up a little too quickly, right? But it is. I think the perfect side event to really elevate something like this. So, what do you think? How are you feeling about KeyForge towards the end of KeyForge Celebration here? Going back home after this.
I was ecstatic to see that it's coming back, of course. Huge KeyForge fan, as all of us listening are, of course, I would imagine. The future is bright. We're on the up and up, and it's only gonna get better from here.
Agreed with everything. Well, thank you so much, Alex. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Archonzal, I am here with a very special guest towards the end of day 3. Why don't you tell us your name, what people might know you by online, and then maybe why I'm interviewing you right now.
Yes. Hello, I'm Captain Gil. Probably see me with the shiny Stuffle picture. And I won the Archon Sealed event.
Yes, that's right. Archon Sealed, where you get one deck, you don't modify it, and you play it all the way through. So, you made top 8. You battle all the way through top 8. Who was your opponent in the final rounds, best of 3?
It was, I believe her name is Sydnie from Help from Future Self. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's Sydnie. So, unmodified sealed. It's a classic format. We've had it in KeyForge for a while. Why did you pick Archon Sealed over Alliance Sealed?
I think the most important reason is that I really like having one deck and one identity. And just when you win, it was this specific deck, and not some nebulous combination between 2 decks. So that's the main reason going for Archon Sealed.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's a great reason. And how far did you travel to get here? How long was this journey?
I traveled quite a bit. I'm from the Netherlands, and it was about 30 hours travel, taking 3 planes, some trains, and a few buses to get here.
Wow. So planes, trains, and buses, that's at least 3 different forms of transportation. That's a lot. So I have to say, after I found out it was you who won, I was like, well, if you have to pick somebody to win based on sheer effort to get here, I'm glad it was Captain Gale. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the deck you opened, what you liked about it. I'll cover a little bit. Yes. Captain Gale's getting out now, and I'm not editing these because that's too much work. Fantastic. Oh, got the deck book. Excellent. The name, I'll let you tell me about it here, but the name is Pickthesis More Spy. Very nice. So tell me about Pickthesis More Spy. What do you like about it? What does it do?
Well, the first thing when I opened it, I saw the token creature, and it was the Berserker. So I was mainly excited because I knew it was a rare token, and I didn't yet really appreciate the power on anything. But during the tournament, the Berserkers have been so strong. They can just... Berserker is a 5-power creature, which enters ready and enraged, and after it fights, it destroys itself. Except there's the card that makes the Berserker. It's called Ravna Starsong. And if she's in play, the Berserkers lose their fight effect, so they don't destroy themselves anymore. But that's not very relevant. Usually you're just happy because Berserkers just solve a lot of things. If your opponent has 3 creatures, Berserkers just kill all of them. And they're great for board control. And sometimes they can reap after everything happens. Some other cool cards. I have Ragnarok Prep times 3. So that makes a token creature, and then if you have more creatures, which this deck almost always has, the opponent loses to Ember. So it's basically a Bumpsy, but they lose. That enters ready, and they lose 2 instead of 1 in this deck. That's been doing a lot of work. And I guess the star of the show, if you will excuse the pun, is Brick Nasty. I think he's been doing a lot of work in a lot of decks, but yeah, in this deck especially. Because you turn your board control into board control and Ember generation, it just goes and goes.
Brick Nasty, if you're not familiar with it, is a 5-power Brobnar creature that says after another Brobnar creature fights, gain 1 Amber. And the star of the show pun is because Brick Nasty, I believe, is the Frogalist and the front man for Bracken, the imaginary Brobnar band. So the art is of Brick Nasty on stage, really leaning into a microphone.
Yeah, and
Picking up a card off the floor. This is what we get for live audio.
yes. Yeah, and the Sanctum and Saurian, which are the other two houses in the deck, have just been very solid. The Sanctum has it has Lady Lorena, which is 6 power 3 armor and double taunt. And then there's just a lot of creatures with power and armor around the 4-2 mark, and a lot of capture effects. So it's really good at capturing Ember, and also itself fighting to control the board. And in Saurian, there's also a lot of cool stuff. Epic Poem has been doing a lot of work because I have a lot of capture 2 Ember effects in the Sanctum, and the next turn I can go into Saurian and basically get 3 from that. Also have 2 creatures in Saurian that on play make a token, which have been really good. Yeah, and that's kind of the deck.
That's awesome. I know people have always talked about creature control, board wipes being important and sealed, and it seems when your token is Berserker, you can make as many little board wipes as you want to, just berserking all over the place. Yeah, fantastic. After playing and winning with this deck, how do you feel about Winds of Exchange as a set, being the first set back for KeyForge? Do you like this set? What are your feelings about it?
Yes, yeah, I really love it. At the front I was worried that Winds of Exchange would just be, oh, I spam 5 creatures, oh, I reap 5 times. But at least the Berserkers make you work for it. And I think there is a lot of creature control, which is pretty good. So yeah, I'm really excited about the set. It's been a lot of fun to play, and even some of the other more wonky decks feel pretty fun. And I'm excited. I've seen there's 3 artifacts rare in Equidon I'm excited about. There's in Brobner there's Hallfest which gets the entire band. And I think I saw something in Mars about Martians with rocket packs, and they also seemed like a set.
Yeah, it's a true Voltron. Yeah,
I'm excited to learn about what those are, but yeah, it seems like there's a lot of discovery in the set, and it's really been great to get that sense of discovery once again after going 1.5 years without new sets. Yeah.
Quite a number of years. Well, Captain Gale, thank you so much for spending some time with me, and a huge congratulations to you on winning this big event after your big travel. I'm really excited for you to take this big W back to the Netherlands. You've done the whole community proud. Very. Thank you so much for your time.
Right. Thank you so much.
Hey there, listeners. I was so excited to bring you that chat with Captain Gale, and I am just being obnoxious enough that I have cornered the winner of the Alliance Standard. They might just be calling it Alliance, but the Alliance Standard tournament and the runner-up. But this is not the first time these two people have met. Why don't you introduce yourselves? First up over here.
Jared Kerstetter.
And Jason Barkender.
Jason Barkender. You might recognize their names from online. J Power and JK Hops, right? Yes. And how long? So you two are in the finals together. And how long have you two known each other? I think I asked you this earlier, and you had to start estimating.
Well, I've known Jay since, maybe 2000. But started playing games together in 2007, 2008.
Okay, that's a pretty good gaming history. That is currently with the most recent milestone. You just played in the finals of the first KeyForge event in first official KeyForge event in 3 years. So, Jason, you took the W, Alliance Standard, right? Building pods from within a single set. What was your philosophy going in with the restricted list out for what you wanted to put together to bring here?
So actually I did a lot of work prior to the restricted list coming out to try and figure out formats that would be effective and archetypes that would work. And actually neither deck suffered meaningfully from the restricted list. So I probably tested out over 15 different archetypes and played around with what I thought was strong. And then I tried to lean into what would sort of break the game mechanics in a way that could still be fun but could be very interesting. And what I found when I did my work was that effectively a lot of efficiency was helpful to create consistency in performance for the decks. and you could create many, many different types of archetypes that leaned into efficiency beyond what we just played here, that were a lot of fun because you're just playing a lot of cards. And so that seems to be what was kind of the top four. There were two double Jenka decks, there was a triple Battlefleet deck, and then mine, which was just a lot of draw pips and drawing. So all four of the top decks that performed here were heavy on efficiency.
Fantastic. And so, Jared, what kind of deck were you piloting up to these finals here?
Triple Battlefleet, Key Abduction, Library Access, Triple Wild Wormhole, some Phase Shifts, and 4 times Control of the Week. So, with 0 Amber Control, 0 Artifact Removal, just...
all gas.
Yeah. I was just driving a F1 car pretty much, and
with no doors.
No doors. If someone beat me to 18, then that was that. But all I could do is keep moving and then try to either stall the game early with Control of the Week or lock them out at the end to Control the Week and then close the game that way.
Fantastic. And as evidenced by the fact you were up on the elevated stream table, I think you closed out a lot of games that way on your way here.
Yes. Yeah. A couple. Well, because I played against both the Jenka builds. I played against Zotted and Joe's Jenka deck, and I played against Andrew from ABR, his Jenka deck. And both of them, I got rolling and then had to close it out with Control of the Week, or they would have OTK'd me. So that was the difference in those games.
Oh, fantastic. Well, congrats on getting all the way there. And Jared, this Mass Mutation deck, it sounds like you maxed out on Jason. Wow. Live on the mics. I'm not editing these, so that's going to live. That's going to live forever. That's going to live forever. So, Jason, it sounds like you went Mass Mutation, a lot of pips. Did you have pods that had taken pips from other pods that you put in there, or
a little bit,
or were you kind of going for efficiency on cards and with just as many pips as you could find in there?
Yeah, I think primarily I was focused on card quality with a secondary goal seek of some additional pips. I don't know if they were disproportionate. Put on the houses, so my dis house only has like 1 damage pip. There's not much there, but there was a Nell play with a transporter platform that I could get a lot of efficiency in Jericho, which helped create some additional efficiency. So there was a lot of layering in the efficiency. It wasn't just leaning into one strategy, but the culmination of it was very fast.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. I know we saw a lot of Jenka. I was actually pleasantly surprised that you all brought 2 non-Jenka strategies. It ended up being the Jenka. So whether or not it ends up on the restricted list, it's beatable, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think that the builds that came here were very strong. People gave a lot of mindfulness to their Jenka builds, and there were a lot that I saw played on TCO before that. So a lot of different types had been tested. I think there might be, for playability and player enjoyment, some reasons to remove OTK type combos, though, just as a general. So my deck doesn't have any key cheats, but generally it gets to be a little bit tough player experience to watch somebody OTK you. But it'll be interesting to see what the organizers feel is important for the game.
Of course, it's that balance between keeping as many pods relevant as possible, but avoiding those negative play experiences, for sure. Well, I want to thank you both so much for taking the time. Congrats on being a duo that made it to the top table. It was a win for you two, no matter who took it. So proud of you both. I know I've got to see you in person several times now. So, yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Hey, you're the man, Zach. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Thanks so much, Zach. We very much appreciate all the work you put into this.
Oh, of course. Well, I just stick a microphone in people's faces and play Rocket Tezzy. So, all right, listener, back at you soon. Maybe not last, but certainly not least, dear listener. You can hear my voice cracking through the exhaustion. I'm standing here with somebody pretty central to all of this. What is your name, sir?
My name is Christian Peterson.
Yes. And I think you've got a lot of investment in how this weekend went. So how are you feeling at the end of KeyForge Celebration 2022?
Just awesome. I can't... Just so humbled by everybody coming out with a relatively short notice. And it helped us, so much, get the spirit of the game going. It helped us kick the tires of a lot of different moving parts. And, we're going to get gain a lot from this. This is going to be great, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it?
I had an absolute blast, and I heard unanimous things from everyone else. So thank you for putting on such a great event. KeyForge means so much to so much of us, so we are along for the ride, and we're feeling good about it.
All right, right there with you. All right, have a
hey, thank you. May your keys always forge, Christian.
Thank you.
Well, surprise listener, I'm now following that one up with, I'm here with Michael Hurley. Can you remind us, I know your job is pretty much everything everybody else doesn't do, but what's your role at Ghost Galaxy, and what part did you have in this weekend, Michael?
Well, sure. So I'm the director of operations, so I just make sure that everything happens and when it's supposed to, and that it doesn't cost too much money, and that everybody else knows what they're supposed to do for the weekend. I acted as the marshal during all of the tournaments, so filled in a little tiny bit for our two judges, but G. Barger and Marcus Diamillo did a fantastic job judging for the whole weekend, and and then just providing support with our very hardworking event runner, Jeremy.
Oh, yeah, very hardworking indeed. And as far as a community testing weekend for you all, how successful do you feel it was as far as gathering data to make 2023 the best it can be?
I think it was overall a very good success. We had some significant bumps on the first day, but we worked through it, and a lot of people said they didn't even really notice, which was a big relief. Saturday went much smoother. Today's doing final top 8 for 4 tournaments simultaneously was a lot to manage. So we definitely learned a lot of lessons there. Learned a lot of good lessons and got a lot of feedback about double elimination brackets. And we're going to take all of that to heart.
Fantastic. Well, count me and everybody I've talked to among the people who have had a fantastic time. Any bumps I didn't really notice because I was just real happy to be here and enjoy everything you all have prepared. So thank you so much, and we're looking forward to everything in 2023.
Thank you very much.